Hello, everyone. Welcome to our QuickBooks webinar today for Red Team Go. We're just going to give it a couple of minutes here to let everybody get settled in, and then we'll get started. All right, welcome, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. I see that attendees list leveling off. So again, today is our webinar for our new QuickBooks updates for Red Team Go. Before we jump in, I always like to introduce myself. My name is Sarah Nyheisel. I'm our Senior Enablement Manager here at Red Team. I've been teaching and training the Red Team platforms for about 5.5 years now, and I really love helping present all of these new training webinars. Just to make sure everybody's in the right room, we are going over our Red Team Go product today. So this is our easiest to use software. It's designed to help kind of simplify and automate, standardize your tasks and processes. If you are a Red Team Flex user, you're not in the right room today. These updates are specifically for the Red Team Go product. And here's our agenda. What we're going to be going through today is some of the key updates that are coming out tonight for the Red Team Go platform. These encompass both the QuickBooks Online and the QuickBooks Desktop integrations. We're not going to be going over a full overview of the integrations themselves today. Hopefully, if you're using those, you're already familiar with the baseline interactions. What we're going to be covering today is a few key updates that should make your life much easier and more accurate in terms of tracking your costs. So one, more seamless accounts payable processes. We're going to be talking about some updates that are going to make the editing and changing of accounts payable transactions much easier. We'll talk about tracking pre-construction costs. We'll talk about some updates to handling commitments and retainage. And then we'll finish with talking about some accounting for non-job time, which was previously not possible. We'll finish then with a Q&A. So there will be time at the end. If you have any questions, you can always hold on to those. But we do have a Q&A feature here in the webinar as well. So please find that at the bottom of your screen. Feel free to go ahead and drop your questions in the Q&A, and I'll keep an eye on that as we go along. Now we're going to be jumping back and forth a bit today between slides and a demonstration database for Red Team Go. But we're going to start here with more seamless AP processing. And this means we're going to begin auto deleting any sub-bills, vendor bills, or expenses that you are unaccepting or deleting in Red Team Go. Previously, those of you who've been using the integration to date have had to worry about duplication, have had to worry about manually deleting items out of QuickBooks Online or QuickBooks Desktop if you need to pull something back and edit it in Red Team Go. That is no longer. As soon as you log in tomorrow morning, you're going to find that any vendor bill or expense that is unaccepted in Red Team Go will automatically be deleted from your QuickBooks account. And if you are to delete a sub-bill within Red Team Go, it will also be automatically removed from QuickBooks. Lastly, we're going to help protect you here by putting up an error message for any transaction that has already been paid. So if I were to try to unaccept an expense or a vendor bill that was already paid in QuickBooks, you'll get this message you see here in the screenshot: cannot unaccept purchase order. It's going to let me know that's been paid. The same would be true if I tried to delete a subcontractor bill that's already been paid. So what this should be doing is just adding efficiency, right? You can remove or edit transactions much more easily without having to delete in both places, without having to worry about records getting updated properly. It's also going to make things more accurate. You're going to have more peace of mind because we're going to be preventing any form of duplication upon resend. Now we're going to hop over and take a look at where you find these screenshots, just in case you're unfamiliar with that. So I am going to switch over here to our RedTeam Go UAT environment. This is what your production database or your client database is going to look like starting tomorrow morning. Not a lot of visual changes, but I just want to point out to you where those trigger points are. So if we go to the accounting menu and we look at approve sub billing here, we can filter to see any accepted bills. Any bill that is accepted, if we have the right permissions, we can come in and delete. That deletion step right there is what's going to delete the existing bill out of QuickBooks as well. And then if you were to re-enter this, it would be resent. So no worrying about duplication there. And then if we go to our expenses menu over here on the left, this would require accountant permissions, but you can come and filter for any accepted items in here. And this is going to allow us to unaccept. With the little ellipses over here, we can unaccept. That action right there is what would pull back that expense or field purchase order out of QuickBooks. If, like this one, it's already been paid, you can see as I say unaccept, that's where I'm going to get the message. This has already been paid in your accounting software and cannot be unaccepted. You'd have to talk to an administrator, right? And you'd have to delete that payment out of QuickBooks in order to unaccept. So that's our first update there. We're going to pop back over to our slides and look at our next one. I'm going to double check our Q&A here just to make sure we don't have any questions. Not seeing any questions at the moment, but please drop those in as you have them. The next update here is the tracking of pre-construction costs. So you may be familiar already with the first setting we see up in that top right screenshot, the ability to track costs in bidding and pending. We are adding to this the ability to create field purchase orders. Previously, it wasn't possible. Expenses were the only type of pre-construction cost, aside from timesheets, that you could handle during those bidding and pending stages. The sync option here in your integration settings is going to remain the same, but if it is turned on, you will now have the ability to assign a PO number. That checkbox that you may or may not be familiar with down here in the bottom screenshot, bottom left there, we'll go see it in a moment, that says assign PO number when approved. That will be available during bidding and pending stages, which means if I select a project that's in bidding and pending and I go to add an expense, I can now check that box. Why would I do that? Because I would like to send across a purchase order as a payable, as a bill that I can pay in QuickBooks, rather than simply an expense, which would go across as a credit card expense that's already been paid. Now, the key thing to keep in mind here is that this will cause a change to when you need to assign a project number. If you are looking to use this feature and you need to create field purchase orders in the bidding and pending stages, the first time you hit save on a new field purchase order here, it's going to ask you to assign a project number to the project, and that number is going to be permanent. So previously, the reason we didn't have field purchase orders in the bidding and pending stages was because we knew there was no project number to file them under. So with giving you this capability, we also have the added requirement that you will need to assign a project number as you create the first field purchase order. You can assign it then. It will carry over as you promote the project to in progress. And if you're not using any FPOs in pre-construction, as you move forward to in progress, you'll then be asked to assign that project number as normal. So let's go take a look at where these two screenshots are, just to make sure you're comfortable with that. So if we go back to our accounting menu and we come down to our QuickBooks Online or desktop integration as appropriate, well, if it'll load for us, this is where you're going to find that setting. So let me go ahead and refresh here. We'll just log back in. Let's come right back in here. Sorry, guys, let's try that one more time. Our UAT environments can be a little bit tricky. There we go. So as we come in here, we're going to go to that accounting menu. We're going to go to either QuickBooks Online or QuickBooks Desktop integration. And as we go up to settings, that's where we're going to find the option. As that loads, we're going to find it about midway down this page. There we go. It's loading all my current configurations. And we scroll down here to this middle section. This is where we're going to find, and this will be turned off by default. So if you're a company that does not want to be tracking costs in bidding and pending, no problem. This is turned off by default for all of our clients. You would have to come in here and consciously turn it on. Flipping this switch is what gives you the option to select a project that is not yet in progress. So if I turn this on, I now have the ability when entering an expense to pick a project that is in bidding and pending. And then that already existed. The update coming out tonight is adding the checkbox. So if we go over to expenses now, and we go to add an expense, what we're adding is the ability to assign a PO/commitment number when approved. If I check that box and I have a project selected that is in bidding or pending, when I hit save or save and approve, I'm going to go ahead and be prompted to put in that project number. So that's where those items are at. And again, should just enhance your ability to track costs that are payables during pre-construction rather than just credit card expenses. And again, as a reminder, all the updates we're going over today operate for both QuickBooks Online and QuickBooks Desktop. Let's move on then to our next item, the handling of commitments and retainage. So you're going to see some good improvements here. Primarily for commitments, what we're doing is we are linking sub bills automatically to their associated subcontracts. That is not something that we saw previously with either QuickBooks integration. From this point forward, from tomorrow morning onwards, if you have sent a subcontract across from RedTeam Flex to QuickBooks, any bills that you then put in against that subcontract in RedTeam will automatically link to the commitment in QuickBooks, and it will reduce the open value as appropriate. So what you're going to see is the open value on your commitment in QuickBooks will be reducing as you would expect as you apply bills against it. Previously, it was just kind of retaining that full open value, and manual adjustments had to be made. In terms of retainage, both owner and subcontractor retainage are now going to be sent separately from the progress bill lines. And what that means is as you create an initial bill, your first bill for a given vendor on that project, your first bill for a given sub on that project, or your first bill for a given owner, will create the progress bill, which you're going to pay. We'll see a couple screenshots here in a moment. And it will create a retainage bill in QuickBooks that holds just the retainage line item. Any subsequent bills for that sub or owner on that project will simply add a new line item to the existing retainage bill, totaling up so that at the end of the project, you have all of your retainage on a single bill and you can simply go ahead and pay that bill. Due dates for these retainage bills are going to be automatically set to the project end date, but you can go in and update those manually. But to make sure that you're not tracking it as something that's immediately payable, we're going ahead and auto-applying that project end date as the due date for you. And then you'll also note that if you were to produce a retainage only bill in RedTeam Go at the end of the project to go ahead and pay out or release all that retainage, that will not sync across to QuickBooks at all to prevent duplication. And we'll look at screenshots here on the next tab. What you can see in the first screenshot up top is the example of 2 bills for a single pay application. So I created app 1 here for Be Grounded Electrical, that's my sub. And the progress on that pay app shows up as the bottom bill for $47.50. The top bill here is labeled retainage. Same project number, retainage is the name, and it's for Be Grounded Electrical. There's that $250 of retainage from the first pay app. The second screenshot is the details for that retainage bill. And you can see here, there's actually two line items, each for $125. So each piece of retainage on any given pay app for Be Grounded Electrical on this project will file into this bill, and it's all going to stack up as line items that I can pay at the end of the project. If I were to release partial retainage at any point during the project, those would come across as negative line items onto this retainage bill, reducing the sum that I need to pay for this bill at the end of the project. So it's just going to make the tracking of retainage much more easy and accurate. It's going to be more simple for you to go ahead and pay that in QuickBooks. I'm going to pause here in case there's any questions. Let me check our Q&A one more time. Okay, not seeing any questions there, but please let me know if you have any as we go along. The last item I believe we have here is our accounting for non-job time. So this is another improvement that's allowing you to sync across overhead time, which we have not previously been able to do. We had some clients giving us the feedback that their total employee labor hours in RedTeam Go did not match that same employee's total hours in QuickBooks. And the reason for that is that we would push across all job-related time based on the cost code, but we were not able to push across these time codes that you're seeing here. So if I created time codes for sick pay or PTO, vacation time, any of those hours logged on my employee timesheets in RedTeam Go would not sync across at all to QuickBooks, leading to a gap where you just couldn't account for those hours in QuickBooks. So what we've done instead is we now, as always, you can create your time codes in the accounting menu, which we'll show you how to do in a moment. But now you can go to that QuickBooks integration settings page and you can map each code to an overhead cost code within your system. And what we're going to do for you is we're actually going to default them to this cost code you see right here in the screenshot, this one TAC 997.0H for non-job cost time. That can be left as is, and all of your time can fall under that singular cost code for non-job time, or you can create separate cost codes for each of these or for different categories and track those to QuickBooks. And that's going to ensure that your total employee hours reflected in QuickBooks will match the total hours logged in RedTeam Go. So we're going to pop over again into our RedTeam Go environment, and we're going to look at time cards here. We're going to go look at time card codes. This is where I would first set up. I can come in here and create, you can see add new, as many as I'd like. We've got holiday, jury duty, personal with or without pay. We can create a code, normally just sequential numbering, but if you have a number code you'd like, you can put that in here. You can make updates to these codes and then hit save, or you can delete a code anytime you'd like. The list of codes created here is what's going to show up on our QuickBooks integration page. So if we come back to that QuickBooks Online integration, you can see we're going to see the log first, but we're going to go up into settings. And you're going to see an entirely new piece of this settings page, which is the time card default items right here on the right-hand side. Previously, we had the owner billing, but the time card items is new here. And this is showing me the list of all those codes that we just saw. And for each one of them, I can choose to leave it as the default, or I can come in and choose another overhead cost code that will work for me. How do I want to file that into my QuickBooks? And again, this works for QuickBooks Online and QuickBooks Desktop. Any changes made here, we go ahead and hit save, and then that's going to go ahead and apply as time cards are approved. They're going to go ahead and flow across into QuickBooks. So that is all of the updates we have for today. I know that's a lot of new things. Again, all of these are coming out overnight tonight, so you'll be able to take advantage of them starting first thing tomorrow morning. We are going to post this webinar on our website, so in case you have anyone that you'd like to review this, you want to pass this on to your accounting team, please feel free. But if there are any questions, we do have some time, so please feel free to drop those in the Q&A. I'll be here for just a few more moments. Okay, not seeing any questions coming in, but again, folks, thank you for coming, and please feel free to reach out to your CSM or your implementation specialist if any questions about these new updates arise for you starting tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.